Hey everyone, today I'm going to quickly go through how to set up a POS for multi-salons. So if you have more than one salon and you might be using top products like Boulevard, Vagaro, or Mangomint, I'm going to show you very quickly how that would be set up with all three. So now I'm going to look up how to set up a POS for multi-salon situations with Boulevard. So with Boulevard, Abundant Salon, we have two locations here, and I set those up to begin with. So I'm looking at our Beverly Hills location. I can see the client and the merchant here. So merchant, of course, being who received that payment, who owned that service or that product, just like you'll see with things like Mangomint. So Abundant Salon is, of course, the merchant for this particular product, but we do have other orders and payments that have been fulfilled for specific booth renters. So Diane Westfield over here was the one who rendered this service to Tracy Schneider. So with this, you can look at the calendar. You can see who was completed. You can view the order right here, view the appointment, look at the receipt, email the receipt, print the receipt, and see what was sold. So obviously we have this retail sold here by Lisa. So this is an example of where you set up that ownership. So let's start with that easy system here for payment processing. If you're looking at the calendar, and let's see let's go to Emery right now. We're going to mark as confirmed, mark as arrived, and then check Emery out. So this is what's going to pop up right now. You can see here that I have the option of adding a gratuity or adding a different service. And let's say we're doing a simple Express Wellness. So in the solo room, we're saving that. Now, if that has ownership options, it's going to be assigned here. If it doesn't, then I can just click all and I can choose which provider has ownership over that. Now I'm going to say wellness room is going to be Sean. So now I've assigned that part to Sean. So Sean will get that $20 when we process the sale for the wellness appointment and the solo room. Lisa's going to get that $90 for the men's haircut. Now I can add a gratuity here. Maybe they want 15%. And then we want 15% here. Whoops. So that's two separate gratuities for the two different owners, which I love. This is something that you'll notice stands apart from the competitors, particularly Mangomint. Mangomint just lets you add a service and then check out. But if I have multiple services from multiple people, which for the record happens with almost every client, someone books a haircut, someone also books a massage, someone also gets their nails done, and then they get a cut and color from someone else. These are things that we need to be able to process in one checkout for the customer, but with multiple services being processed for different locations and multiple salons. So I love that you can add products. You can search product names. So maybe he wants the signature conditioner. Okay, so the seller is actually not Lisa. The seller is the owner, Jessica. So now we're adding Jessica. Emery gets that membership discount, and that automatically applies to the total. So you can see here that the total down here, we can choose cash card, credits, gift card, or other. And let's say he uses a Groupon. That's an option. We can also add a different payment type, but he's going to go with his card. It's the card on file. We enter the billing code, and then we just charge it. And it's as simple as that. Order is complete. We can email that receipt. We can look at it and we're done. Anyone can process that. Obviously, if I'm choosing a different salon, I just go over here. So I set that up with the same type of ownership, but then I look at a different salon. I want to check out Agnes. All right, Mark is confirmed, Mark has arrived, and now we are checking Agnes out because she is done. Same thing, the service is added here, the gratuity is here. I can choose to add a product. We're adding conditioner today. That's what everyone's doing, but I want the Gold Lust conditioner this time. And the owner is going to be Kaylin as the makeup artist, or I can assign it to someone else. Let's say that the owner of this is actually our colorist, and that's the person who always gets credit for that. Well, then that's going to be our seller. So I can change that when I'm checking out. But if the owner is more flexible and it's whoever happens to be providing that service and checking them out, then I can just choose, and it will, of course, auto-populate with the person with whom our client has set the appointment. And then same thing, we're going to do cash, the total amount that was paid, and now we're done. So very simple to manage multiple locations here. Setting up that POS is going to be very simple. And then of course you have new features here with Boulevard, particularly this feature. So I do like the Boulevard payments option. This is very similar to the hardware you get with, let's say, Vagaro. It handles all of your payments in a single platform. So everything that you saw here in terms of checking out is the same. The difference is you have this one unit. They can tap their card, they can swipe their card, they can insert their card. They can also use things like Apple Pay and Google Pay for easy payment processing. And then of course you can purchase this setup so that they have the same sort of front facing display and they can see everything that you are processing when you go back through and process that payment as you saw. So very simple to use, setting up that POS for multiple salons over here. And of course, I really love that option that you have in assigning ownership and being able to provide that ownership and payment in a single transaction for multiple people. Okay, so I'm going to look at Mangomint right now. And you can see here you want to start with business setup and then click on advanced settings. Now this is how you're going to start setting up your point of sale system for multiple salons or multiple people. So if you have two different salons, you will have two different locations listed. And within that, you're going to want to enable client ownership. Now, client ownership means that each of your employees or respective locations, if you are setting up more than one, has control over their client base. So you can see this is a simple toggle screen here, or simple toggle switch on the screen, and that's what you want to make sure is enabled under the advanced settings for your business setup. You obviously start with the locations and make sure that that has multiple locations, but then you want to enable that ownership. And that means that when you go over to clients and you click on those client details, as you can see here, you're looking at Clara Smith, there will be a drop-down option for the assigned owner. Now with multiple locations, you might pick a specific location. You might pick Salon A instead of Salon B, or you might pick a specific booth renter at each location, like Jennifer. You can also assign products to that particular location or booth renter. So when you add products here, they'll all show up under your product page, and you can choose things like bright blonde conditioners under hair care here. And if that is associated with a specific person, you'll have the option of selecting the owner, just like we did with Jennifer before. So then when you go to your calendar and you're ready to check someone out, you have the option of adding services and products and assigning those to the respective owner, whether that's Salon A versus Salon B or an individual booth renter at that salon. You'll add things like the tip. And so with Vagaro, you have to set up the enterprise level software if you want to have more than one location. So that means you actually have to go through the team for multiple locations, because the traditional planning and the traditional software only lets you add up to 7 members, but with a single location. Now, once you have that done, you can add a new business as a second location through the settings option. So you'll go through settings, click on business, and then add multiple locations and select the new business that is under the same owner or connect to an existing business that already exists in Vagaro. You will add all of the relevant information here. And then once you have verified the email and phone number associated with that, then you add the employees. Now this part's important because you want to add the number of employees you have and decide where you can basically assign ownership, somewhat like Mangomint. So you're going to copy information if you want from one business to the next, things like credit card configurations or tax configurations, and then proceed from there. Once that is done, then you set up your system so that, much like Mangomint, you assign different payment systems to the business type and location. Now, for multiple locations, you can use the Vagaro tools to make it easy for you to set up and pay. So they have this Pay Pro POS here. Now you set up all of these different options, however many you want to invest in at any given time. And from there, you'll set all of your billing information up with that respective ownership once you establish your multiple locations. And you can put this front-facing screen toward your client without having to actually pivot the tablet that you see. And from there, easily process those payments by selecting the service as well as anything that they purchased in terms of product. Add that tip and then let them process right here. As you'll see, this is the part of the POS that your clients see. And they will see any services or products listed, any gift cards that were applied, any other discounts that might have been applied to their total, the taxes, tips, and then how much is due. From there, they can connect credit cards if they have those saved. They can also apply gift cards and, of course, pay with cash. So as you can see, that sales option here with all three is relatively similar. Obviously, if you have multiple salons, then Vagaro is going to be a little bit more complicated because at that point you have to exchange the setup you have for something more comprehensive at the enterprise level. But barring that, if you're using Mangomint or Boulevard, you assign ownership to your different products. You are able to manage things like packages and products right here. You're able to pick those products, determine who is going to get that credit when you check out. But if I had to pick one option for setting up a very simple POS for multi-salons, I would absolutely go with Boulevard, not least of which because they have similar hardware to what you would use with Vagaro, but without the same stress. And they have that option of checking out for multiple locations. Here we have our 2 salons as well as multiple booth renters or product owners in a single transaction.